Today it's 4th of July. You guys may see the video on the 5th when I upload it, but I'm recording it now on the 4th. And my son just got born. Those of you that watched my live stream already know. As I mentioned on my live stream as well, I'm really glad that I'm not an American. I mean, can you realize just how awful it would be to have your birthday on the 4th of July if you're an American? Because everyone is partying, everyone is focusing on the national holiday, everyone is going and they're throwing fireworks and they're barbecuing, and you just don't get to feel like you're having a happy birthday because everyone is busy with other things. There are such cases. I actually know a lot of people that were born either on Christmas or on New Year's. My mother was actually born between Christmas and New Year's, and again, you know, people don't have the resources because they already spent a lot of money on the holidays, so they end up not attending the party, they come empty-handed. It was bad, right? So because I'm not an American, I now get to celebrate the 4th of July with the Americans, so I get to have like the best of both worlds. I'm not going to show a picture of Libabi. I really dislike this. I find it incredibly cringe when people post pictures of their children on social media. I did show it to a couple of close friends, people that I actually know personally, and yeah, they congratulated me. I appreciate it. The reason I'm making the video is because I'm a little bit nervous. You know, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen him yet. And there are a lot of Americans on the live stream who are absolutely baffled. It's like, oh, so you didn't assist the birth. Like this was something out of the ordinary. And I'm like, okay, like throughout the entire human history, in various cultures, the fathers were supposed to fuck off. I even asked my grandmother, how was it when you were young? Because there were no hospitals in the rural village. So how did people give birth? And she said, well, there was this woman that everyone knew. The Americans would call it a wet nurse. There was this woman that everyone knew, and whenever someone had to give birth, they would summon the woman. The first thing she would do is to kick out all the men. So we're talking about brothers, sons, husbands, father, doesn't matter, fuck off. And the wet nurse, along with a team of other women that she would handpick, would select the birth. The idea of assisting the birth seems to be a predominantly Hollywood creation, which is not as good as it's being advertised. And I'll tell you why. Because both myself and my wife have actually gone through maternity wards during med school, during our training, and have assisted actual births. And despite what people say, there is no miracle in it. There's no magic. More often than not, women shit themselves. Sometimes the doctor has to do certain procedures, like cut the woman open, while she's in great pain. And the father is going to turn pale as he doesn't really enjoy seeing those procedures. And he, more often than not, makes things more difficult for the medical staff. And on top of that, right, like, sanitarily speaking, there's also the germs. Like, the idea that I was supposed to see my woman in the fucking ICU is bewildering, because I had like a lot of people saying, well, why don't you go see her? And I'm like, well, in Romania, you're not allowed, right? Like, there is a decontamination zone where the mother is going to change her clothes into hospital gowns, and you, as the husband, are not allowed to get past that. Now, a lot of interesting chuckleheads were suggesting, well, why don't you just bribe the staff? You know, like, first and foremost, this is 2024. Like, we're not in the 1990s. Secondly, it also depends where you're at. Like, this is a prestigious university hospital because I live in a big city. So it's not like a rural village. But finally, like, why? Why do you want to bring germs in a place where there's newborns? Like, what is the purpose of that? And not to mention, again, like, my wife, she was supposed to give birth naturally, but eventually she had to get a C-sec. So, like, you want me to go into the ICU now? It's just mind-boggling. And obviously my wife didn't want to either. Like, she wouldn't want me to see her during those moments. And I gotta say, you know, like, as much as I know about maternity wards, the worst place on earth, and I'll articulate why in a bit. If you blindfold a person and you take them somewhere without knowing, they will not be able to articulate if they're in a maternity ward or a dungeon where there's torturing happening. Like at least in my country, like I don't know how it's elsewhere, right? But my wife was telling me that she was hearing screams, like screams of horror coming from the room to the right. And then screams of horror coming from the room to the left, following by the doctor going like, push, push. The problem was that she was thinking she's next, right? So what this does to the psyche of a person, like, I don't know, but like, can you not soundproof the room? Like, there's very cheap ways to do it. All you need are some egg cardboards, and you put them on the wall, and at least the other patients don't feel like they're inside of some fucking torture chamber, and the torturer just didn't take their turn yet. I actually asked her if she wants to go to a pizza or something so that she doesn't have to hear the screams. I mean, no, seriously, I understand her, like, fully perfectly. It's very demoralizing. Like, what can you do? A lot of people ask about painkillers. No, you can't give painkillers to a woman that's about to give birth unless you're doing the C-sec and you're giving anesthetic, because it also affects the child, right? So, not everything needs to be solved by a pill. Like, pills usually have secondary side effects. And, yeah, you don't want the child to also be affected by it. God. The maternity ward, horrible. Like, one of the worst places that I went when I was doing my medical training. Even, I think, like, the psychiatric ward would be a close second, but at least, like, the psychiatric ward was very peaceful, because, like, they were all on drugs. No, the maternity ward is horrible, because, again, like, you hear all these women crying, and there's nothing you can do about it. Right? There's nothing you can administer, there's nothing you can do except tell them to push! Push! So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. Apparently, she may, like if everything is fine, she may come home on Monday. So, up until that point, I'll just, go and, bring her food, because they allow you to do that. Like, they allow you to bring something to a person that's waiting at the ground floor, and then they take it all the way up. And you can talk with her on the phone, which is what I've been doing. But, apparently, no, like, the hospital food is pretty good. So, like, she was saying that she doesn't want anything besides something sweet. I was surprised, though, like, the hospital food is good. When I was working at the hospital, it was shit. And it's shit usually because they don't add salt. It interferes with heart medication. But I suppose that the maternity ward maybe is different, right? So maybe they can actually season it. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not going to share that much. Usually I try to keep my private life separate from my YouTube channels, but, you know, every now and then there's a big event, kind of helps me to talk with the internet, tell you guys what's up, and hopefully you can share your experiences. Is that, by the way, like, no, seriously, like, assisting the birth, is that an American thing? Because I genuinely, like, do not know about a trend in Europe. And people that are American, and I was talking like, you guys are weird. Again, you have women shitting themselves. Literally, no, the explanation for it is quite simple, right? It's like, the baby applies pressure on the colon on its way out. It's like, imagine a toothpaste, right? And you push your fist on the toothpaste, and you move it all the way to the other, like, what happens? So, why would you want that? Like, what? I don't know. And sometimes the baby just doesn't come out, so the doctor has to take a scalpel and make a decision in order to enlarge the canal. Do you want to see that? Probably not. Right? And on top of that, the contamination. Like, you're coming from the street, right? With street clothes and shit. So you're going all the way up, like, you're bringing extra bacteria. We're talking about newborns. They don't have a good immune system. Why? Why you do this? Why? Yeah. You know what? I'll ask it differently. Let me phrase it differently. Are there any men that went and saw the birth and they actually considered it the most wonderful thing, and they would have been very upset if they missed it? Is there such a thing? I'm curious. Again, here in Europe, and I'm not talking just Romania. In Europe, we don't do this. We don't do this. There may be some exceptions, maybe like in Western Europe, right? Maybe there are some exceptions, but especially in Eastern Europe or Central Europe or Southern, no. And I think that's all I have to say about it. Oh yeah, e-begging. E-begging, very important, especially now. E-begging, the best moment ever. If you look at the pinned comment, there's a link that will take you either to my Patreon or my PayPal, or on my subscribe star. I would appreciate any contribution. And if you don't want to donate, there's also a link that takes you to my live stream. I live stream every day. I will probably live stream this Sunday because I'm also home alone. So I will do This Week in Stupid. And I'll see you guys there. Take care.